the existence of climate change should not be utilized as a talking point in order to pass the buck, in order to deflect blame, in order to refuse to take any personal responsibility for how poorly this state has been governed for several years now. I am so disgusted with these people. I mean, Newsom is the governor. He's the top dog in California.
So happy that some of these commentators on the left are finally just being objective and calling out their own people for the incompetence and their lack of efficiency and doing what they were elected to do. We have Bill Maher coming at Gavin Newsom recently. We have Ana Kasparian in this video coming against Gavin Newsom, talking to Jillian Michaels about the way he's handling California right now and how things have just not been done properly. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to RTM News because it ensures YouTube that you're enjoying these videos, and in turn, they will continually show up in your feed and they'll push it out to more people. I'm Titus. Let's get into this video.
Gives you a sense of what these local politicians really care about, and it's themselves, their own political careers, and it disgusts me. Gavin Newsom, in every single interview I've seen him do, has passed the buck, even though he is the governor of this state.
Yeah.
He is pathetic. He's a snake. He's like the slimiest Democratic politician, certainly on a local level. But what we have seen is mismanagement of epic proportions, and the mere existence, and it is real, the existence of climate change should not be utilized as a talking point in order to pass the buck, in order to deflect blame, in order to refuse to take any personal responsibility for how poorly this state has been governed for several years now. I am so disgusted with these people. I mean, Newsom is the governor. He's the top dog in California.
You know, you blew the whistle.
It's a disgrace how they will be dismissive. And she made a really good point about how they utilize things like climate change or whatever to try and basically pass blame off onto other things that are not relative to their lack of incompetence or their lack of competency in getting things done in the way that they should be. Like, it's like you're responsible. You're literally elected to do all the things that we don't need to worry about. Right? Like now, because now we do. Like nowadays, politically, we are all so politically charged and so like independently researched on everything because we don't trust that the people that we had put in the place to do what they said they were going to do are going to do that job. And it's always been the thing, oh, politicians, yeah, they say this to get elected and never do. That's not okay. When you can't promise things and then completely fall short every single time, especially on things like with Biden and the economy and the border, it's like these things affect us. And then with Gavin Newsom and the mayor, Karen Bass on cutting budgets or budget cutting for the fire department and stuff like. And then how conveniently there's like fires galore shortly after that. It's just like, no, not okay. Blows my mind. But we have some more with Ana and Jillian, and unless you want me to go off for 30 minutes in anger, let's watch this.
You know, you blew the whistle on the PG&E scandal that I'm not hearing anything about right now, and I can't articulate the way that you do, and I learned about it, as mentioned, from you. So I was hoping that you could talk a little bit about that. You have a brilliant 20-minute video that I posted on X the other day. But can you encapsulate what happened there and what role Newsom played in letting PG&E off the hook?
Well, essentially what he did was bail out PG&E, even though PG&E essentially started the fires in Paradise, California.
Right.
They couldn't be bothered to replace a $10 hook that was nearly 100 years old, and that hook was holding the power lines up.
Right.
So just think about that. These hooks are basically falling apart. Power lines are falling. We have dry conditions in California. And so it's a tinderbox. We live in a tinderbox right now. I mean, Newsom, of course, also can't be bothered to clear the dry brush, had cut funding for that. Anyway, but putting that aside, after the fires happened in Paradise, California, and so many people lost their homes, lost everything they had worked for, Newsom comes in because PG&E is one of his major donors and essentially bails them out and structures a settlement with the individuals who lost their homes in such a way that it's essentially tied to the value of the shares for the stock of PG&E. And so it created the situation in which the very people who lost everything because of the greed of this utility company now have to root for this utility company to maximize their profits if they are to get any money as part of their settlement. And there was a lot more to that story. It is a 20-minute video. Please check it out if you guys want to learn more.
In the comments below as well.
But it shows you that the Democratic Party, what I have noticed is that they engage in quite a bit of projection because they do love to point fingers at the inept governance of Republicans, the corruption that you see among the Republican Party. I mean, a good example of that is what happened in Texas when the privatized energy grid in Texas went out in the middle of a disastrous winter storm and hundreds of people died as a result of that. That was also the crisis in which Senator Ted Cruz was caught going Mexico, to Cancun for vacation.
I remember.
And Democrats had no problem calling him out for that. But for some reason, they are providing cover for Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, leaving us behind in order to go see another country's president get inaugurated. So if you have any fire that you're directing toward Republicans for their inept governance, I am not going to take anyone seriously if they're unwilling to apply that same logic, that same reasoning toward Democratic lawmakers, Democratic politicians who have also failed the people who they're supposed to be representing.
Yeah, one thing about liberal politicians, they will not keep the same energy. Liberals in general. I remember people getting upset about Ted Cruz about that Cancun trip I lived in Texas at that time. We called it Snowvid. My apartment completely out of electricity. Snow wasn't really ever hitting like that. And it was just crazy. I had no electricity. I couldn't be I had to stay at a friend's house for like a week and a half because it was just so bad and power didn't come on for a while. It was rough. And yeah, we were like, people were frustrated with Ted Cruz. I remember thinking to myself, like, bro, I don't know what he could or couldn't do about it. There is a little bit of a difference, I guess, because the infrastructure wasn't built for that kind of weather and stuff. And so what could he have actually done? I don't know. But with these fire things, though, like the lack of water, and I'm not trying to give Ted Cruz a pass because you should, if your constituents are sitting there struggling, you should try and do everything in your power to help them. So I agree with Anna there. But yeah, keep the same energy. You see Gavin Newsom, he's passing the blame on the climate change. He's passing the blame on all these other things. And then Karen Bass, I believe her name, wasn't out of the country. Like, this is not okay. You need to be there for your constituents when they're going through this hardship, especially when you have the power to do things to change it, to make it better. Oh man, and Democrats they're allergic to personal accountability, to personal responsibility, and it's just very unfortunate. But I'm grateful that Ana Kasparian is coming out, and a lot of people that are left-wing commentators are willing to be more objective now because we need this. We need this dialogue.
These people do not care about us. And at this point, there needs to be a reckoning within the Democratic Party in regard to their failures, in regard to the fact that they engage in the same behavior that they criticize their political opponents of.
And they do. They're hypocrites. I mean, here's the thing. I'm under the impression that almost 90% of politicians, do I know them all personally? No. I'm sure they're all full of crap to some degree. Obviously, you want to align with the ones that are preaching your values, but do they live up to them? Do they actually want to implement them? Who knows? You'll never really know unless they actually do it. That's why people like Trump, because he actually did a lot of things he said he was going to do. And that's why we have this whole thing called rhinos, like Republican in name only, because you're not, you're a Republican, but you're the people that she's talking about. And obviously people just disagree on some things, and that's fine. But yeah, this needs to change. We need to really give the power back to the people in every aspect of the word. Like, the power should be in our hands. These people should not be glorified, pedestalized. Like, you are just a servant to the American people. You are a public service worker. So yeah, we need to shift the mentality on what it means to be a politician, because they think that they're gods among men, and it's not okay. And we need to see things changing, especially right now in California. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment down your thoughts below. I want to know what you guys are thinking. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.